Gaming Manual.
His combos are extremely satisfying to perform, and the majority of his finishers are intuitive and easy. By the time this came out in late 1996, I was a Kabal pro. Now you can be too with this wonderful guide. Hey everyone, this is Jason from the Gaming Manual. On today's episode, we're taking a look at arguably one of my favorite gaming franchises of all time, Mortal Kombat. Specifically, Mortal Kombat Trilogy for the Nintendo 64. Join us as we take a deep dive look at Kabal for Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the Nintendo 64. This series is going to delve deep into the Mortal Kombat Trilogy iteration of the MK3 trilogy. This is for a few reasons. First, it's by far the most popular and memorable for the majority of fans from this era. Second, there's a competitive standard to this day with the N64 version. Because of this, the N64 version is the version we'll be working from and referencing here. And last but not least, it retains the majority of the content, combos, infinites, and strategies from Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. So the carryover here is a no-brainer. With all of that preliminary stuff out of the way, we can finally get to the focus of this video, Kabal. That's right, we're starting with arguably the most overpowered and my personal favorite character. Kabal was beyond broken in vanilla MK3, but they toned him down just a tad for Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and they managed to make his gameplay even tighter in the process. Kabal has some of the best zoning and pressure jabs in all of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 and Mortal Kombat Trilogy. We'll go over run jab pressure and zoning in just a bit. For now, let's get right into it.
Kabal.
The gas mask wearing Enigma made his roster debut in 1995's Mortal Kombat 3. As a kid, I was obviously bummed there were no ninjas in MK3. I mean, yes, we had the cyber ninjas, but you know what I mean. There was just always something about Kabal to me as a kid. Maybe it was the mask, maybe it was the hook swords, or how he took off his mask to reveal a hideous, gruesome visage that reminded me fondly of Scorpion from days past. Whatever it was, he was the first character I attempted to master MK3's gameplay with back on my Model 2 Sega Genesis way back on Christmas 1995. Needless to say, it did not go well. The button configurations for the Dial-A-Kombos felt convoluted and counterintuitive. To make matters worse, I only had a 3-button controller at the time. Do you know how impossible this game is with 3 buttons? You have to either press start to switch between high and low attacks, or press A plus B for a high punch, and B plus C for a high kick. Yeah, good luck with that. Once I got that 6-button controller, however, it was off to the races. The Mortal Kombat races. The N64 version of Mortal Kombat Trilogy is fast. It plays fast, and it's not even just because the N64 doesn't have loading times. There is very little slowdown and frame rate issue in this game. This is good because speed is one of Kabal's best mechanics, as we're about to see. Simply put, Kabal has some of the best combos, pop-ups, and juggles in the entire game. The entire meta of his strategy is built around this fact. The goal with Kabal is to trap players in the web spin, unleash a punishing juggle combo, and repeat. The strategy comes in balancing being aggressive and defensive with your baiting. Kabal has the best jabs in the game as well. They can and should be used to keep pesky opponents at bay and set up quick web spin scenarios that can be leveraged into juggles for maximum punishment. Kabal's most devastating and useful move is hands down the web spin. By pressing back, forward, low kick, the player will dash towards their opponent with a burst of speed, setting them into a dizzy spell that leaves them open for punishing combos. The biggest danger here is how you can trap opponents that try to jump in at you or away from you. For that split second where they're unable to block and are thus defenseless is exactly when they're most susceptible to this stunning special. His fireball, performed by pressing back, high punch, can be done both on the ground and in the air, which unlocks a plethora of potential juggle combos that make Kabal an S-tier character in this game. Kabal is a master zoner, and these two moves combined are essentially all you need to unlock some serious combo damage. His ground saw isn't as useful or broken here as it was in vanilla MK3, but that's okay. Skilled Kabal players can still use it to mix things up and keep their advantage strong. To perform it, simply press back, 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 and run. This move is best used for catching opponents out of a massive jungle combo to maximize damage.
Finish him! Finisher!
Kabal's stage fatality is super easy. Are you ready? Simply stand as close as you can to your opponent and press block, block, high kick. That's it. Now you can toss your opponent onto the tracks down in the subway, over the railing and into the spikes at the bell tower, and last but not least into the giant buzzsaws at the bottom of the pit 3. As a quick aside, I was so young playing these games that I remember not understanding what stage fatality meant in my MK3 strategy guide. I have to look back and just laugh because I was so obsessed with Mortal Kombat, I didn't even understand it all yet. Now, for Kabal's traditional fatalities, he's got two fun ones. The air pump fatality can be performed by standing sweep or just outside sweep distance and pressing down, down, back, forward, block. This was the first fatality I learned in Mortal Kombat 3 as a kid, so it's burned into my memory to this day. His other fatality is a little tricky, and by that I mean touchy. Run, block, block, high kick. Because of this discrepancy, I hardly ever go for this one. But still, when you can pull it off, it's one of the cooler looking animations in the game.
Kabal shows mercy.
People oftentimes forget that mercy exists, and it's required in order to perform animalities. To perform mercy, you must win round 3 and hold run, then press down, 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 and release the run button. This will give your opponent a sliver of health back. Defeat them again and perform the input for your animality. Kabal's is one of the easier ones to perform. Simply hold the high punch button, then press forward, forward, down, forward, and release high punch in close. Voila! Skeleton Rhino Headbutt.
Animality.
Fun fact! This animality was believed to have been hand-drawn by Tony Goski, one of the few animality animations that wasn't an action figure, toy, or ripped from an animal video encyclopedia. Cool!
Friendship.
Kabal's got one of the genuinely more comedic, fitting, and practical friendships in Mortal Kombat Trilogy. He busts out his hook swords and toasts some marshmallows over an open campfire. Yay! To perform Kabal's friendship, press run, low kick, run, run, up, at any distance.
Babality.
As with animalities, everyone's Babality has a prerequisite. That being, you cannot use the block button at all on the final round. If you can manage this, you can perform your character's Babality. I guess this was a way to sort of tell your opponent that the match was so easy, you didn't even have to press the block button at all. I never thought of it this way as a kid, and always just found it annoying. Anyway, Kabal's Babality is run, run, low kick at any distance. For both Kabal's friendship and animality, since you can do them both at any distance, I highly suggest at the very least going to what's considered outside sweep distance. Wow, that's such a 90s gaming magazine, guide, whatever term. The reason being, both strings of input require pressing a kick button. If there's any discrepancy or slip up on your end, if you're too close to your opponent, that's it, round over. If you're outside sweep distance, at the very least, you won't knock your opponent over with an errant kick.
That was pathetic.
Brutalities are complex, challenging combo inputs that require not only expert memorization, but also a certain rhythm. What makes them even more challenging is that this rhythm is different for every single character. I have no idea how the game programmers achieved this, because it wasn't a finisher featured in the arcade versions of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. In fact, it debuted on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis home ports of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Thus, we can't even blame these long combo strings on the designers just wanting to milk us for our quarters. I wonder, in hindsight, if they ever regretted not having that in the arcade versions of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Anyway, get in close and immediately hammer high punch, block, low kick, high kick, low punch, low punch, low punch, high punch, low punch. That's why no one does those. So that's why I never did those as a kid, because I couldn't.
Went past your bedtime?
Yeah, it took me 2 weeks just to read it.
Well done.
This was one of those areas in which the developers absolutely balanced and toned down some of the overpowered aspects of vanilla MK3. That's okay though, because even with the balancing factored in, Kabal is still one of the best characters in the entire MKT roster. Kabal has several very useful Dial-A-Kombos that you can begin utilizing immediately. They are as follows: high punch, down high punch. Low kick, high punch, down high punch. Low kick, high kick, back high kick. For combos utilizing his special moves into Dial-A-Kombos, they are as follows: web spin, low kick, high kick, back high kick. Jump kick into web spin, low kick, high punch, down high punch. Jump kick into web spin, low kick, high punch, down high punch, jump kick, fireball. That one is a personal favorite. Some useful counters for sweeps include fireball, and of course, a web spin with a Dial-A-Kombo Punisher of your choice. The key to victory with Kabal is timing. Knowing when to initiate a web spin and how to do so at a moment's notice are integral to surprise and thus success with Kabal. You can and should use fireballs to zone opponents because this is the path that will always lead to victory. By doing so, you either cause your opponent to jump back or forward, allowing you to set them up for a well-timed fireball and eventually a web spin combo punisher. Because once you do manage to snare an opponent in your web spin, you've got to lock in as much damage as possible, preferably with a massive, nasty juggle combo. A few more key points on the web spin. The absolute best time to catch your opponents with them is when said opponent is jumping away, over, or towards you. While they're in the air, you can air kick plus fireball them, or else catch them with the web spin and unleash a combo like the one previously mentioned. You can also just catch them with a simple, well-timed uppercut. Get ready to block. For real. Bait Kabal players into the web spin so you can block it and then punish. With enough skill, you can bait Kabal players into doing so via jumping forward and away. The key here is to give yourself enough distance so that you have time for your character to land and initiate the block frame of animation. This is going to vary wildly from character to character, so definitely be sure to put this one into practice. The biggest gap in Kabal's otherwise perfect arsenal of attacks is the fact that he suffers from a massive recovery time whenever one of his web spins, and especially ground saws, are blocked. The setup for the ground saw is telegraphed as well, because it involves pressing back twice to set up. Kabal players have almost no reason to do that at a distance other than to initiate the saws. In fact, if you're playing as Kabal against Kabal, this is the perfect move to bait your opponent in with a web spin so you can block and punish. In conclusion, Kabal absolutely is an S-tier character in both versions of Mortal Kombat Trilogy. He was overpowered in Mortal Kombat 3, dialed back a tad in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and more or less kept the same for Mortal Kombat Trilogy. But that doesn't mean he isn't still top tier. His combos are extremely satisfying to perform, and the majority of his finishers are intuitive and easy. He was the first character I was able to actually get good at, as well as learn combos with as a kid back in 1995. By the time this came out in late 1996, I was a Kabal pro. Now you can be too with this wonderful guide. Toasty! This is Jason from the Gaming Manual. If you liked what you saw, please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Let us know your thoughts on Mortal Kombat Trilogy and Kabal in the comment section down below. As always, thank you for your time, and we'll see you in the next video.
Gaming Manual.